Hello, everybody. Uh, Today I'm making a video in which I want to address some points that I feel like need to be addressed. First of all, although I have made a lot of videos about it, although I have spoken a lot about it, it seems that some people, perhaps because they only see one video or something like that, they don't seem to understand a couple of things about me. So allow me to explain this to you. English is naturally not my first language. Of course, it's about I think it's the third or fourth language that I ever learned in my life. I started off speaking, of course, Portuguese and German with my grandfather. Okay, so these are basically my two native or born languages, if you want to call it like that, for whatever reasons. I have even heard a couple of people calling their ethnic uh, languages. Okay, and during the day, in my daily life, what languages do I speak? Probably solely Portuguese and German. Make it around 70 to 80% in Portuguese and the rest in German. These are the two languages that I use with my family members, with my friends, in my work. I only speak English when I have to, okay? Because outside of that, no, English is not my. I cannot say it's not my favorite language because I do like English spoken. For example, my cat. She comes in, she opens the door, and then she leaves. Well, as I was saying, I only speak English in my daily work, my daily routine, if I need to. So, if sometimes you don't understand me or I enunciate a word with an odd accent, well, that just means it's not my native language. Okay. And I think this should be quite clear. I don't think there is any doubt in an English speaker person listening to me to understand the small twangs and the small ways I enunciate words for that person to understand that English is not my native language. So, the question. So, why do you do your videos in English? Well, my friend, because anyone can understand me when I speak in English. When I speak in English, someone in Japan, someone in China, someone in India, in Africa, in the United States, even in the South, a bit odd, in South America, all over Europe. No, everybody can understand each other, okay? And English has become an easy language to learn because it's all over the place, okay? And it's easy. This has nothing to do. Look, I know sometimes the English say everyone speaks English because we had an empire. No, my friend. Everyone speaks English because the Americans have dominated the world for the last 100 years, almost. Okay? I'm sorry to tell you this, but it's the truth. Okay, you left English in India, which is a good gift for them because at least they have a common language to which they can rely on. Because anyone that is not ignorant understands that India is constituted by a lot of ethnic groups. It's constituted by a lot of different languages. People speak completely different languages in many parts of India. So it's normal to have a language you can rely on. Okay, and this is just an example. Okay, let's not go into. And then you have countries that speak English because it was the native language of the first settlers of the people that then conquered their lands, like for example Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, Canada, the USA. Okay, this is absolutely normal. This is the first thing I'm going to tell. And then, now let's talk about uh, a couple of things that I think people need to understand. First of all, I'm going to address that entire Charlie Kirk business. It's meaningless to me. Simple as this. To me, his death is important for his family and the people that love him or loved him or still love him, whatever. Because from a political point of view, it's only important for those that are trying to create some kind of a martyr to attack their political enemies. And I think, first of all, even if the guy was not a nice person, because you see, when people die, they don't become automatically angels. No, sometimes they even become bigger monsters because after their death, you are able to see the entire extent of the consequences of what they did and what they said. So no, I'm not going to mince words. I'm no, my friend. No, keep your emotions to yourself. I don't need them, and I don't want them. Respect is a different thing than emotion. Very different. You have respect for the person that died because they died. Okay, and no one deserves to be shot and die violently. Not even someone like himself that appealed and condoned violence. And he did in his words, and he did in his actions. And if you are not ready to face that he did that, then that is your problem. It's not my problem. It's not the problem of the rest of the world. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's absolutely nothing. Okay? I don't care who killed him. I don't care why that person killed him. It's really meaningless. It only counts to me when other people and other groups try to use that to attack other people. Okay, people that are speaking the truth, people that are addressing. So the lighting here, this lightning is dreadful. Let me just technical issues. Okay, it's good enough. But it only bothers me when you try to use that, like, for example, he was from a good right wing family, but then he got corrupted by the evil left. Bullshit. Bullshit. And I'm talking about the murder. Bullshit. We don't even know if it was he that did it. And frankly, the way things are in the USA right now, especially with that FBI director and all of that, if before I would be very skeptical about any kinds of conclusions that they will reach, right now I am completely skeptical. I cannot believe a single word that comes out of their mouth. Nothing. I have absolutely no trust in the United States. I'm not talking about the normal detective or beat cop that, if they're honest, they're trying to do their work. Okay, I'm not talking about, for example, the judge that is just trying to apply the law as it's presented to him or her in a just way. No, I'm not talking about those people. No, no. I'm talking about the ones that take the shots. Okay, the ones that are above them and the ones that make the decisions on who to prosecute and who not to prosecute and this and that. I do not trust them. Not at all. Because, look, have you seen what has been happening? If I was an American citizen, I would be very worried about this. Because I don't think you are really living in a state with a rule of law. There are a couple of people, a couple of institutions, a couple of governors that are trying to do the right thing, that are trying to follow the law. But just look at the question of the gerrymandering of the representatives. The Republicans started to do it, and then they forced the Democrats to do the absolutely same thing. And I'm not saying all Democrats are good people. I'm just saying they are not lunatics like most of the Republicans, because most of the Republicans are completely lunatics. Lunatic. I'm sorry, but they are lunatics. Uh, I cannot explain the behavior of most of those people from the optic lens of a normal thinking human being without classifying them as lunatics, because their behavior is completely deranged, the things that they say, and because also I see the Republicans repeating the same narrative. For example, this is regarding Ukraine. I see them repeating the same narrative that comes out of the Kremlin. Now, what am I supposed to think about this? Because around here, we have free press, completely free. In the opinion of some people, true free. But in my opinion, no. I prefer that sometimes there are assholes. I prefer that sometimes there are assholes and idiots and intrusive and bothersome. I prefer them to be like that instead of being compliant and passive. I would much rather have them like that than in the other way around, because that means no one is controlling them except the law and the entities that are responsible for making sure they do not transmit fake news and misinformation. I'm also glad for the laws that we have in the EU punishing fake news and misinformation. This is one of the reasons why, for example, in each and any of my videos, I say, fact check me when I'm talking about a specific matter. Fact check me, please. Fact check me. It's the best thing you can do. But when I mean fact checking, I don't mean make a nice search in Facebook or X or whatever you use. No, you go straight to the source. If you want to see the economic indicatives or numbers or whatever, you go to the numbers of the country itself. You go to the international agencies. You go to other countries that trade with them, and also have their own numbers about it, and you see where the line of truth is. This is how you work. Okay, but these people, they're completely lunatics, and now they are turning uh, this entire Charlie Kirk thing into a host vessel event. Fact check that too. Host vessel. Try to see what that means. They are trying to make this as some kind of pivotal moment, sorry, uh, to create some kind of national movement. And I'm thinking, my friends, don't you know what this is called? This is called fascism. Okay, this is called authoritarian rule. And when Mr. Trump, using financial and political coercion, forces networks to fire comedians or people that don't agree with him, just like what he's doing in the government, where everyone he could replace for someone of his own political or, or persuasion. When he does this, this is fascism. Because a normal president would worry about things like, for example, foreign policy, would worry about if the farmers are able to export their products and make money, if the supply chains inside of the country are working, if all institutions are free, independent, and doing their job. This is what a normal president would do. And I'm talking about knowing how the American system works. Okay, I'm not some idiot that doesn't read things and that doesn't understand. You know, and you Americans, you had some really dumb presidents in the past, but they did not endanger your institutions so much as the current one is doing. And again, I have no hatred for the man, none at all. I also don't pity him, and I also call him out every time I see him acting like an ass. Okay, and if I, for example, right now, if I try to go into the United States, I wouldn't, given all that is in my social media. Not saying that I would, because I would refuse anyone to see my phone or my media, sorry, without a court order, like it is here. Here, authorities can indeed examine your social media, your posts, all of that. They can, but they need a court office or a court order to do so. They need to have a reason. They need to have a motive. And if they ask me to do it, they explain to me why they want to do it. Because you have a lot of situations. For example, imagine one of your friends that you talk to every day commits a crime. Hmm? And the investigative police asks you, my friend, we need to see your social media to monitor the conversations you had with the other person. And I can do two things. I can say, I will allow it, but you need to tell me what are you exactly looking for and what you seeing. They tell me. Most of the times, this is how it works. Or I can say, no, I refuse. And they get the court order to do so. They go to a judge, they explain why they need to see my social media, and then the judge looks at it, considers the the rights of everyone, okay, including the defendant himself, my rights as a citizen to not allow them to see it, their rights as an investigative police that is looking into it, and what is in the Constitution and in the Bill of Rights and in the legislation that is published in terms of criminal law and all of that. And that is it. This is how normal countries work. And why do we need this? Because we don't want someone to be taking arbitrary decisions over other people's life. But this is the normal country, okay? But no, they are trying to create this entire myth of a martyr uh, nailed at the halter of free speech. Oh, for God's sakes. Did you hear the man? Did you hear how he talked with other people? His arguments that were none. I'll go. I will go into that in a minute. Did you see how he selectively decided who he would talk with? The entire apparatus behind him, the entire profit that he was getting from it, the people that called him to come in and make a speech, the confrontational aspect of the people that put him as a fire starter for something that had a previous agenda, and all the arguments. Look, in ancient Greece, there were a group of philosophers, so called philosophers, but they were philosophers, we have to call them that were the sophists. And their technique was wordplay and continuously counter argument with argument. So, for example, if you said, I believe the water is fresh because it springs from the mountain, a sophist would say, how can you believe that the water is fresh? Do you know what fresh is? And how do you know it is water? This is a sophist classic example. And then along came Socrates, that we don't know much about Socrates' written work. It all comes to us from his disciples and the people that knew him, like for example Plato. Okay, and then they wrote these sayings that are called the dialogues, in which they wrote down dialogues of Socrates with a lot of people, mainly these sophists. And he would disarm them completely because his theory of philosophy was very simple. He was a very simple man. He wore old clothes. He didn't care. He he ate. He drank. He cussed. He was a normal person, and he wanted philosophy to be a. You can agree with him or not agree with him. That is your position. But he wanted philosophy to be something meaningful, to have a meaning behind it. Okay, so did Plato and others. He did not want, he did not consider philosophy to be simple wordplay. So when we are talking about debate, that by the way was an institution that was, let's call it, crystallized in its form in places in I'm talking about Europe, not going to talk about China or Japan or other Asian cultures that even India that have uh, another different progression, although sometimes they are very similar, mm, in which they created the form of what a debate is. And according to them, and according to normal people, a debate is not a battle of words. Words are a part of it. Words are a part of it as the tool you use to convey your ideas, your affirmations, your hesitations, all of that. But they are not the center of a debate. A debate is opinions, for example. Let's talk about opinions that are different. And each of those opinions, they speak to defend their opinions, okay? And then they battle in that way. Opinions, there is always something behind it. There is always an argument behind the opinion. And what this gentleman did, and he's not the only one, okay? There are a lot of them also in the left that catch a word and then turn it into nothing. So they discuss word upon word. This is also the tactic that the trolls, no, the human ones, not the farmed ones, use. They pick on a little word and then they dissect it. They see, for example, like a troll said to me in the comment section, "Thank you, you are welcome." You There you go. A mention from the guy that you were talking about. Okay, that at least he was well spoken. Well, of course he was. He was born speaking the language, not me. But that doesn't change the fact that I have arguments to speak to. And at least I'm not some monolingual idiot like he was. Maybe he spoke some Castilian. That is Spanish for you Americans, okay? People that speak Spanish, they don't speak Spanish. They speak Castilian. That is the name of the language. That is another thing you should all learn. In Mexico, they don't speak Spanish, and they are not Spanish, although some of them are the descendants of Spanish people. They speak Castilian. It's one of the languages that is spoken in Spain. Go look it up and see how many languages are spoken in Spain. They spoke Castilian as the main language, but they also speak Galician up north, which is very similar to Portuguese, since Portuguese and Castilian both come from Galician. In fact, all languages in the peninsula come from the basic Galician language, except the Basque country that have a different language system, a different culture system. They are even ethnically they are different from the rest of the although related of the rest of the peninsula. But they were already here and they continued to speak their languages while we started by speaking other languages. Let's leave it like that, okay? And then of course you also have Catalan, which ironically is more similar to Portuguese than it's similar to Castilian. But this is the first thing, okay? And at least me, when I'm defending that I'm not defending, I'm Around here, I'm just relaxing. I'm talking to the camera, okay? Unless I'm speaking about a specific matter, I have no plan, nothing. Okay, I just start speaking. That is why I often rant a lot. Sorry, but at least when I speak, I am defending something that has content. I'm not. I'm not countering other people's opinion. I don't counter the opinion of people that want to be idiots. I'm not even discussing the fact that I consider them idiots and they consider me an idiot, probably. I'm not discussing absolutely nothing of that. I'm just saying, I think you are an idiot, for example, for saying that or for believing in that. But that, my answer, is only a consequence to your actions and to your words and to my opinion that I defend. And people today, they seem to be rather infantile and not adults. People are not adults. Everything hurts them. Or, in the other side, they tell other people that everything hurts them, and then they start really hurting people. Like saying, for example, that, oh, you cannot make a joke about this and a joke about that. My friend, it depends on the context and on the joke. If you're watching a Jimmy Carr show, you bet your ass you're expected to feel, you are going to be offended by something. When he talks about, I don't know, religion, whatever the man talks about. And that is normal, and that is absolutely great. But when you start making jokes to incite hate to others because you have an agenda, that's the problem. And a lot of people don't understand that fine line. That fine line is this, and I have talked a lot about it, but I will talk again ad nauseum about it. You can say, for example, I don't like my president. I can say that. I can say, I don't like the guy. Not my kids, but I can say it. What I cannot say is, for example, I hate that guy, I wish he would die, blah, 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 blah. This is hate speech. And not making a clear difference between those, that is the issue. Because you can do what I do in my videos, there is a disclaimer. It says, basically, I may say words or concepts that are offensive to other people. So don't watch it. If you don't want to watch my content, you don't. If you watch it, you know that is going to happen. You know that sometimes I'm going to swear. You know sometimes I'm going to went on or see no English. Uh, I'm going to release my hounds on someone or some opinion. But to come here and try to offend me, my friend, you cannot offend me. I was born pot German in a communist heartland 1 year after the revolution. You cannot offend me, believe me. You cannot offend me. You want to know what's the only thing that offends me? Ignorance and lies. Those are the only two things that I consider offensive. I consider people that are stupid and don't want to learn. I consider them offensive. I consider people that are constantly lying offensive. I don't like them. I don't trust them, and I never will. A liar is always a liar. Like the English say, fool me once, shame on you, or shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Okay? So, this was just a little video before I resume my habitual uh, schedule because I think this it was about time to make it and to put it out there so that you know exactly how things will work. Okay? If you are here to say, oh, you cannot say this about that person or that or the other person because it's offensive, oh, and he at least is well spoken in this. Look, frankly, Go do something useful with your life, okay? Or go help a neighbor. Why not? If you have a neighbor that is older or whatever, and he cannot mow his land or his lawn or something like that, go help that neighbor. Go do something productive with your life. Around here, you won't see any kind of appeals to violence, okay? Because although I'm a pretty, uh, apparently, my aspect, my look is pretty aggressive. I'm not aggressive at all. I'm a very peaceful person. I only use aggressiveness when I need to defend myself or other people. Other than that, I'm not aggressive. I never raised a hand to a woman. I never did any of that shit that people think that so-called alpha males have to do. You want to know what I see when I see all of those people doing that? I see weak people. Weak people. Exactly like the Christians. You know what my dad used to tell me? A Christian is not known by his words, he is known by his actions. And he acted like a Christian. And all of these people, all of these Christian nationalists that are associated within this entire madness, you are no Christian to me. No, you are bloody heathens. Because a Christian person would never say what you say about gay people, about trans people, about people that are different from you. A true Christian would try to understand. And a true Christian, if he cannot understand it, then he will say, I'm sorry, I cannot understand, be well, and go on with his life. Because it's no shame to not like a group, a person, a music, whatever, a book. It's no shame. We all have our different tastes. But when you attack people, when you burn books, when you ban books, when you do all of that, then that is not free speech. That is repression. That is attacking other people. And that, my friend, I really have an issue with. Because in my mind, you look, if someone comes up to me and says, I don't agree with your ideas, I think you are wrong. That does not offend me. That does not offend me. Not at all. Do I try to question it? Well, it depends on the circumstance. If we are having a debate, then I will question it. If I'm publishing a video that no one pays to see, that it's free online, you can watch it or you can just click on and go to the next one. I don't care. I don't care. Why? Because if you spend your entire life worrying yourself about other people's opinions and will they like my t-shirt? Well, I'm wearing an old Adidas t-shirt that is look, I'm not going to try to lie, but I think this t-shirt is 20 years old, but I love it. I still like to wear it around the house. It's very comfortable. The fabric is excellent, pure cotton, and I love it. Do you think I care about anyone that will say that, oh, my background is very gay or something like that? I like it. It's a smiley sun. I like it. It's one of the ones that I use often. I also like the wolf that I use, or the other one that is pictures that I took. I love it. I like it. Okay, and that is the reason why I put them on. If you don't like it, well, too bad. Anyways, thank you very much for listening to my rant. I'm going to make a couple of videos. Also, going to try to put in some funny ones too, because sometimes you just need to laugh about it, about the idiocy of some people. Okay, and just generally doing what I do. Okay, what I like to do. That is to talk with people. Okay, like I always say this in my videos. No, I'm that guy. We're both sitting in a cafe table. Okay, we're having a nice espresso. We're looking at the views. We are seeing people pass by. Glorious sun shining down. Everything cool. Everything relaxed. That's me. Okay, that is what I'm trying to put out there. Because Life is so short. Why would you waste your time spreading hate and violence? Well, hate and violence doesn't solve nothing. Calling out hate and violence, telling that it is happening and that it should not happen, and to tell people to stop doing it, that is justifiable. But to waste your time spreading darkness, and I'm not trying to be some kind of a new age, whatever, but do you realize how much of your time you waste worrying about what other people think about you? Well, I don't. I don't care. I really don't care. I don't care if I'm walking in the street and that person or that person hates me or doesn't like me or whatever. I don't care. I don't care because that is their feelings, that is their right, and I don't care just like I don't care about what other people do with their private life. I don't care what the trans people, what the gay people do with their lives. It's their lives. It's not my life. My only duty as a citizen is to not hate on them. I can ignore them. You can ignore people. If the behavior, if you, for example, if you are a devout Christian, that you are not, but if you're a zealot and gay people are sinners, trans people are sinners. If you think like that, it's not me that is going to tell you to think differently. It's you that has to learn, not me. But you are entitled to be like that. But you are not entitled to come into the airways where we all talk and spread that bullshit around. Unless you do like me. Make a video and say, I am going to offend this group, pardon me, and that group and whatever. So don't watch this video if you don't want to. My religious beliefs are this one, so I'm going. You can do that. That way, if someone passes by your video, like I was, like I told you, I will tell them to. Then why did you bother to watch that person's video? Do you understand the logic? No, I don't think you do, but that's for another video. Let's make another video another time, and so that we don't mix up everything. But again, just try to be a nice person. And to be a nice person sometimes means to shut up and not get offended by because your neighbor is gay or because your neighbor is black or whatever, or if you're black because your neighbor is white, okay, or if you're gay because your straight neighbor doesn't like you because you are gay. Stop offending about all of that. As long as everyone keeps it civil, keeps it polite, we are free to do whatever we want and think the way we want. If everybody around in the world did this, we wouldn't have so much shit going around. These cultural wars are all fabricated by people that have an interest in it. In the USA, you are all slaves to the fat cats that have been pocketing in at your expenses. You are paying for the tariffs. You want to know what you're doing to the rest of the world? Forcing us to seek other markets. But do you think France is stopping to sell their cheese that they didn't? I'm giving you a dumb example that it didn't sell to you. Do you think France is not selling their cheese elsewhere? You know what they are saying to the people that are importing the cheese and selling it in your country? They are saying, "Oh, you want that cheese? Okay, but you pay the tariffs. I don't pay that. Oh, but no, you have to." And they say, well, "F you. I'm going to sell elsewhere." This is what is happening. Those tariffs, the companies are not eating the profit like you want them to, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them because they are not there to provide a public service. They are there to make a profit. And your votes, your organization of the state has caused this situation. You could have universal health care, you could have good public transportation, you could have safe food if you wanted to. But everyone wants to make a profit, everyone wants the freedom to have a weapon, a gun or whatever, or rifle or whatever, even though you're not qualified even to ride a bicycle. Everyone wants that. You want, and you don't want any responsibility, any accountability. Americans, you are responsible for what is happening to your country right now. All of you. Do you understand this? All of you, you are responsible. But what I see a lot of decent Americans taking in their responsibility, saying we should have done more, we should have been more attentive to this and that. And then you are seeing the others that now are getting punished by this crap, like the farmers, and now they are calling for daddy state to help them. Well, that's socialism, right? Ah, God's sake. Well, again, I was going to end the video and I started a rant. Sorry about that. Thank you all for watching it. And I hope you are all safe, especially you in that Madeline. And I hope to catch you all in the next one and be safe.